Are you feeling lazy, grumpy, or in a bad mood? That's probably because you're not getting enough sleep. Experts say that teenagers need at least 9 hours of sleep every night, but very few of you are actually getting this much sleep. With so many good TV shows, Netflix, addicting Xbox games, your cell phones connecting you to all your friends through Snapchat, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and so many hilarious YouTube videos out there, it's harder for you to fall asleep than ever before. But even with all these amusing late-night distractions, it is important to power down so you can get some sleep. Consistently getting less than 9 hours of sleep at night is associated with a lot of negative effects, like developing type 2 diabetes, being overweight, and developing heart disease later in life. You may find it harder to pay attention and concentrate in school, and it may be more difficult to remember things. Teenagers who get less sleep have also been found to get lower grades in school. You may wonder why you need so much sleep, and even think, I only get 7 hours, and I feel okay. But experts consistently find that 9 hours is how much time your developing brain needs every night. You need sleep so that your brain can absorb and reenact the new skills you learned the day before and store it as a memory for you to use later. So no matter what the new learning you did the day before was, whether it was sports, or music, or math, or learning about World War II, sleep is the best thing you can do to help you remember that new information or skill. So if sleep is so important, then why aren't you getting enough? Well, science shows us that it's actually not your fault. During these teenage years, your internal biological clock changes and releases melatonin, which is the hormone that makes you sleepy, much later in the night, probably closer to 11 or 12, which is a lot later than children and adults. Now, if you're supposed to get 9 hours of sleep every night, and school starts at 8 a.m., then how are you supposed to get enough sleep if you don't get tired until closer to midnight? Well, even though your biological clock may be fighting against you, there are some things that you can do to help you fall asleep earlier than your body may want. So here are some tips to getting more sleep. Number 1, stick to a regular sleep schedule. It is better to wake up around the same time, so within about 2 hours, and take short naps in the afternoon than to binge sleep on weekends. Sleeping in on weekends confuses the body and makes getting up on Monday even harder than it already is. Number 2, have a bedtime routine. Turn off your screens 1 to 2 hours before going to sleep. Create a routine, whether it be reading a book or a magazine, stretching, making lunch for the next day. Just doing something to disengage from a stressful day can help tell the body it's time for sleep. Dimming the lights can also help let the brain know it's time to sleep and may stimulate an earlier release of the sleep hormone melatonin. Number 3, exercise daily. Exercise, especially earlier in the morning and at a higher intensity level, can improve sleep quality and reduce the time it takes to fall asleep at night. Number 4, avoid napping. Power naps, about 20 to 30 minutes long, may give you a much-needed boost of energy midday. However, longer naps and napping later in the day can make it harder for you to fall asleep at night. And finally, there are a few things you should try to avoid later in the day. The first is alcohol. Although many people think that alcohol helps them fall asleep, alcohol actually worsens sleep quality. Second thing to avoid is caffeine, so that means coffee, some teas, pop, and energy drinks. Caffeine is a stimulant that makes you more alert, so it'll be harder to fall asleep. And finally, try to avoid eating large meals before bed. These can cause discomfort in the digestion process, making it harder to fall asleep. Avoid eating 2 to 3 hours before bed. If you are really hungry, a light snack about an hour before bed is okay. As you can see, sleep is extremely important, so do yourself a favor, turn off your screens, and get some sleep. This message has been brought to you by the Thames Valley Family Health Team. You can check us out online or follow us on Twitter for more information.